Oh, no, stop.
No, I'm in height. I'm sitting down here.
Yeah, I know what you were trying to say. I know. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the public hearing. We'll begin, as usual, with our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all for coming. We're all here regarding the EMS proposed tax this evening. As you're all aware, SB 1 was, it's really going to impact us in the future. We're slated, according to our financial analysts, when they look at it, that we're going to be impacted by a little over $1 million next year, and then the following year again. All of this, you know, as it plays out, we'll know more, but that's what our financial analysts let us know. So what we're trying to do is find ways in order to preserve the essential services that we need, because everyone in the county deserves that at a good, the best possible care that they can get. So we want to open it up this evening for public, anyone who wants to make a statement. You should have seen a sign-in sheet, and what we'd like to do, if possible this evening, is maybe limit that to around 3 minutes so that gives everyone an opportunity to actually speak. Did anyone sign in, or does anyone want to make a statement, maybe that hadn't signed in? Do we have anyone who would like to speak? Yes. Okay, can you step up to the podium, please? There's a microphone and we're being recorded so everyone can hear your question.
I want to give an overview of what we've done,
Instead of
some of the stuff
10
we've
basis
done.
points, we're doing half of it.
I'm Mark Scott. I live on 57 North, and I don't get the newspaper, so I'm a little uninformed on just exactly what all services this entails. So if you could explain.
Sure,
I
I'm
appreciate
sorry.
it.
I should have started with a little overview. The EMS tax that we're proposing would be, it actually would just be for emergency medical services. So what that would mean at the proposed rate, our financial analyst gave us the median income of everyone in Davis County. So the average median income was right over $68,000. So what that would entail with this EMS tax would be an impact of right around $62 a year for that $68,000 wage. But then that money would be used or could be used for emergency medical services. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
And when we say emergency medical services, we're primarily talking ambulance service. Just, yeah, I mean it's not a broad defined category. It's pretty narrowly defined as to what you can use that, what the state will allow you to use that money for.
Our neighboring counties have a safety tax, which includes city police, volunteer firemen, that sort of stuff. This is ambulance basically only.
That's a whole nother fund that they allow us to have a local income tax on, but we're not looking at a public safety tax right now. We're just strictly looking at basically emergency.
Well, again, I talked at the last one. My name's Paul Traylor. Now, I got one question that I'd like to get answered. When Wayne Sheets owned the ambulance service, we didn't have to pay a tax on that, did we? I don't remember anybody ever paying a tax on it. And it seems to me like every time we turn around, they're adding a new tax for something. And it ain't been long ago, as far as the city goes, we started paying a rainwater tax. You know, and I mean, maybe we ought to start better managing the money that we got as taxes now.
So when Wayne had the ambulance service, he was subsidized by the county. So it would have been taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, well, nobody ever said anything about that.
Well, I'm telling you now.
Okay. And then the other question I got is, did Deaconess buy our hospital up here, or are they just managing it?
They were managing. They do not own it. All the decisions are made by the people who own it, which is the commissioners.
Okay, then like I asked that guy out there in the hall that day, said, why can't Deaconess down at Evansville fund some of this, where the taxpayers in this county don't have to keep footing the bill for everything?
They don't own it. They're not responsible for the profit, the loss, nothing.
Well, he said right here that Deaconess owns the ambulance service the last time.
Whoever told you that's wrong, they do
Well,
not.
you wasn't here the last meeting
Was
when he
not here.
said
I
that.
was-
What?
I was in
Does
Evansville.
anybody remember that?
No, he didn't say that they own it. Again, it's a management contract or a structure. Yeah, they don't own.
I'm just saying the people in this town's taxed to death already. You said 2 million this year, up another million next year.
Not for the ambulance contract, no. The shortfall, are the impact of that Senate Bill 1 to the county means that we would have a reduction in our revenue over the next 2 years. That's what I was referring to, not an ambulance contract.
Mike?
Because of your property tax, the state with this Senate Bill 1 is going to lower property taxes. Therefore, the county, all counties are going to have less money to operate and provide services as we go forward. So this is the reason why we're even thinking about doing this, because we're going to have less money to work with. And also, I'd like to say that right now, 20 years ago, we adopted the jail tax, 0.25% on your local income tax to pay for our jail. We refinanced that thing about 3 times and were able to pay it off early. So that tax had gone away. And at the same time, we adopted the edit tax. It may not be in the same year, but it was very close to the same year. So Daviess County has not raised local income taxes in right at 20 years. And we've tried to manage good, so we didn't have to do that. And I feel like that we've done a fairly good job. Is there a few hiccups here and there? Absolutely. Nobody's perfect. But we've tried to maintain and not raise tax, but we know we have this shortfall staring us in the face. We're already down some this year, let alone what it's going to do to us next year. So this is the reason why that we're even considering doing this.
Well, you was talking about that Senate 12 tax, or bill, or whatever, okay? It lowered everything here. Everybody I've talked to in the county, not just this city, but the county, everybody's property assessments went up. Property assessments go up, so does your income taxes, your property tax.
Those assessments are based on sales of homes. Debbie can tell you. She's a realtor. We can't do anything about that. When homes are selling for more, your assessed valuations are going up. But the rate that they apply to that usually goes down when that happens. At the state level, when we submit our budgets and they give us a rate for our assessments then.
So we're gonna keep raise this tax.
They can't hear it otherwise.
Does anyone else have any comments from the audience? Yes?
Stephen Walden. A few years ago, it was proposed for the public safety tax, and it was shot down. You guys mentioned that earlier. One question is, why keep giving money to the ambulance service? They recoup some of their money. Speaking more for the volunteer departments and the city department, which I'm fire chief of the city department, we don't recoup any of our money when runs we make. My understanding is like Pike County Ambulance Service and DuBois County Fire Service are profitable. Have we talked with them to see how they're making money and we're losing money? With the Senate Bill 1, these taxes come down. Services got to stay the same. And my understanding from the state level, they still want to provide all the services, but they want that money to come more locally, which is what you're trying to do. But why just the ambulance service? And if we do this public safety tax later, are you going to include it, give them this money here and then include them in a
All right, well,
safety tax? And why can't we do the safety tax when everybody else is doing it?
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't believe that the volunteer firefighters, they're out raising that pancake breakfast and all this stuff, that they do need that money. But we're not talking about the 0.10 here. We're talking about 0.005%. Right now, everybody in the county is paying $22 a person for the ambulance service. This is $14 additional. That's $36. And to your point, sir, why is it doing any money? Because the commissioners basically we're responsible for the assets. They're the ones who sign an agreement with the hospital. The ambulance service is contractually from the state of Indiana, statutorily responsible for Davis County. So the people that throw the hospital under the bus is wrong, because it's the county's responsibility. Okay? So now we're going to be paying $36 a person if we cut this in half of what was proposed and do this. So 63% of everybody that goes to the hospital on ambulances in this county, which what all has, is either on Medicare or Medicaid. Medicare and Medicaid pays between 38 and 40 cents on the dollar. So right there, you can tell in 5th grade math, you're behind the 8 ball big time. And that's the squeeze with everything. Back to the volunteer firefighters, absolutely. Knox County's 0.25%. They have a higher payroll. They're taking in, I think, somewhere near $4 million. This is going to take in $500,000. If people are complaining that $14 a person or $500,000 is a problem, what would they do if we made it $2.5 million? Not that maybe that shouldn't be done, but Knox County has a safety tax. Pike County has a tax. Greene County, these people have it. DuBois County, they have it and we do not. But when 63% of your people, as I said, and you're only getting 38 cents on the dollar, you're behind the 8 ball. The budget this year that we're in is just over 40 million. The budget for next year is 37.3. Okay, 57% of the budget, $21 million, is in the general fund. The majority of that can't be messed with. Almost $16 million of the $21 million is for the legal system, or the guys in brown, and the highway department, and the county hotel, the jail. That is the majority of that. That's almost 16 of the 21 million. And to Mike's point, first time in 27 years, I've been here 7 years, first time that anything has increased. The intent of this is to do this and hopefully only do it for 1 year. Because whether people know it or not, in 2028, all of this tax system goes away. And it's going to be done differently. How it's done, they're still arguing it at Indy daily on a regular basis. Does anybody like this? No. We are 25th out of 92 counties in Indiana on the lit tax. It's 27%. We're in the lowest 27%. And if you raise something, or do you care whether it's 27% or not? No, it went up. And that's a fact. But it hasn't happened of anything that the county can control in 20 years. Now, Article 4 of the agreement signed by the commissioners with the hospital, because it's the county's obligation. It's not the hospital's. Everybody wants to do a hospital. They're doing it as a service. They've reduced and still looking at maybe doing a half a truck less at certain time periods. Between 12 and 4 a.m., you might be able to reduce a half a truck, which gets into scheduling problems. But here again, Article 4 of the contract signed by the commissioners say that they can get out on a letter at any time they want. They continue to lose the amount of money they are, and they hand it back over to the commissioners. They got 180 days to figure out who they're going to hire to run it. And nobody's going to run it more efficiently than the people that's up here. And we're looking, if that happens, the commissioners are going to come back to the council and say, hey, we're going to need $700, $800, $1 million more than what this is. Whoever you hire, if you can get someone, Martin County's obviously having a problem right now. This is the path of least resistance. It's just simple as that. You're going to pay $14 more than you're paying. Hopefully it's for 1 year till we see how Senate bill works. Nobody likes it. I don't like it. But if they come back to the commissioners and say, we're losing X number of dollars because of the charge-offs and the write-offs contractually, and I know those numbers. I sit on the hospital board. It's horrible. The amount of money in charge-offs and write-offs. That's where your legislators need to come in, because they're the ones that's hooking everybody. And I don't like it, but here on the general fund, how much that we have to do, and if you want to say something from the standpoint of the commissioners, but if they come back and give the commissioners, this group's going to have to come up with $1 million more than what we're saying. There's a word for it, and it does. It bites. But what do you do?
And Tony, I'll add to that, it's not been in the last few years, there were 2 counties up north of Terre Haute, and that happened. One county's ambulance provider, I can't remember who it was now, they gave notice, and in 30 days, the county had to find another provider. And they ended up partnering with the county next door to use their service for a while. I don't know now what happened down the road, if that stayed or not, but it can happen. And it can, and the counties are required by state law to provide an ambulance service of some sort. The problem is, and when we made the switch from Southwest to the hospital, I was on the committee that talked about it at the time, not a lot of options out there. There's not money in the ambulance service. There's not a lot of money in that. So you don't have like 5 or 6 companies out there just saying, hey, we want that business. No, the hospital they wanted to take it on, but they knew they weren't going to get into a profitable enterprise, and it hasn't been. There just isn't the money in it. But it can happen. They can just up and say, you know what, we're losing money. You don't give us more, well, you can do it yourself. You can figure it out.
I'll say I'm not totally against this. I'd like to see the public safety tax to help everybody, not just the ambulance service. And mention cutting back on how many trucks we have. I'll say I think that's a mistake. I'm already hearing it's not the ambulance service's fault, and they're working with what they can. But I hear a lot of radio traffic, and I hear a lot of 15, 20-minute wait times for an ambulance coming from a different part of the county. So cut one,
Okay.
I think, is a mistake.
I can get you those numbers. We're averaging 11.5. We're below the state average on what it's costing on all the runs. And then when I mentioned about that half a truck, that's what people would like to do because of the money, but that has not
Who's
happened.
the people? What people?
People who talk to you say, not you, not people who's enforcing things, because you guys are behind the 8 ball all the time. But I can get you the numbers from the hospital of what Odin, the 2 in Washington, Catterburg, what their times are, because that's public. Or dispatch people could probably tell us that, but I'm not arguing with it.
I just want to make that statement. So
Yeah, the volunteer fire departments are the ones who get hooked on everything. You got your pancake breakfast, you got your turkey dinners, Catterburg's volunteer fire department. I can tell you what their budget is and how much they get paid, and it's horrible. Same
going
with,
through the radio deal, which we do appreciate, the radio program we got. I think you all know that a lot of them don't have much of a budget at all. So the more we're asked to do as a volunteer, the more it costs. And I'd love to share prices of what things cost for the fire department. We don't have that time for that right now, but it's expensive. So.
one thing I've been told, and I don't know if it's true, so I probably shouldn't say it, because everything else, I got papers, I could prove what I said. Of the 92 counties, we're supposed to be 15, 16, 17 as far as financial shape. That's what I was told. I can't back that up. But here again, if you had the crystal ball and you knew how bad things were going to be in 2 years, but when everything changes in 28, if you wait till then,
Yeah, and that was a comment I was going to make. We're trying to be a little proactive and stay ahead of the curve, stay ahead of the ball before it really drops. Because in 28 things are really going to change, and then if we come back in 28 and and again, we lose $1 million next year, we lose another $1 million, and I think even possibility of even $2 million in the following year. We're way behind the power curve. Then we've really got to jump it up. But if we can stay ahead of it a little bit and have the funds available now instead of having to hit taxpayer hard in 2 or 3 years, we're just trying to stay ahead and not.
And we want to provide those services. We don't want the wait time, so we don't want those truck reductions. We want to make sure that everybody is taken care of. Everybody in this audience, my family, your family, we want to make sure everybody has that ability.
I met with the fire chiefs last week, I believe it was, and I asked them personally that if they could, to figure out what their needs were going to be for the next couple of years and start putting a plan together, and maybe we can help some way, somehow, and also like a 3 to 5 year plan, what they think their needs might be down the road, so we can all be thinking about that. And you know, at some point in time, maybe we can help out, because these guys don't get paid anything. They came out and they saved my combine a year or 2 years ago when it caught on fire, and I can't express enough gratitude to the Plainville Fire Department. But hopefully there's some way we can help these volunteer fire departments out.
Without any tax increase.
Yeah.
Right, Tracy?
T.C. Cook, County Commissioner. First, I want to say what a lot of people probably don't know and what you guys don't get appreciated for is exactly what you were talking about. The fact that I believe the number's 13 counties in Indiana are in the black. The rest are in the red. And SB1, depending on how it works out, that number is actually going to increase. That's in the red. And that's literally because of each and every one of you guys. And so for a taxpayer, thank you for that. SB1, the goal seems to be, let's give it back to the local people so they can make decisions locally on how to have revenue and all that stuff. By the way, I don't disagree with that. I want it to be local. I also know, just because I know you guys, not super well, all of you, but well enough to know that you're not sitting around saying, how can we tax more so we can spend more, right? I know that without a doubt. Sometimes we lump in state and federal because we have to pay all of those taxes, right? And it gets lumped into you guys as well, right? And so I don't have a vote in this. This is your guys' decision, right? So I don't want to overstep. What I would suggest, if you would take a suggestion, and you can do whatever you want to, it's just me talking, is I do think we all can agree that the short session coming up at the state, January to March, that's probably all that's going to be talked about is SB1, right? I don't think they probably want to hear anything else at this point. And they're going to be arguing. They're going to talk about a few other things. And they're arguing about it, right? Hopefully they'll get their act together. We'll figure it out, right? But whatever they decide directly affects us and directly affects all of us here. You said 28, everything changes, right? And that's a fact. SB1's not going to go away. It just might look a little different. And so my suggestion would be, we do have some money in a TIF fund that RDC could use, right? RDC is the redevelopment, what's the C? I always forget the C.
Commission.
Thank you. I always want to say coalition. That's weird. But we could use $1 million from that. Might be kicking the can down the road, but it might not. And then that's with the short session, that still gives us time, because my understanding is you guys have till October 31st. Is that right? That's it. You got to make that decision. You got to make it quick, which means RDC's got to hold a meeting and post it and hold it, and then means you guys got to post a meeting right after, and have that meeting right after to make this go through, right? Can it be done? Sure. Sure it can. Will it be done? I don't know. But sure it can, right? take that million, delay this so we see what SB1 really is going to look like after the short session. Is it going to delay that tax? Possibly, right? Possibly. Very well could. Meaning we're still back in the same position here October 28th, right, of next year. But it could delay it to where we can say, hey, they didn't make the changes that we all expected. Now the calculations are a little different, and now we see what we have. That would be my only thing. Does it have to happen super fast? Yeah, it sure does, because there's a deadline, right? Is it possible? Sure, it is possible. Could it kick it down the road? Yes, that's my statement, right? But I do want to, I hope people watch this, I hope they see it and know the fact that 20 years, is that what you think? Around 20 years?
Right about the same time we built the jail.
20 years on not taxing locally, right? We can't deal with the state. State does their own thing. They do that. The city does their thing, right? They have their own thing. That's not us, right? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And it's a big deal because you guys really tried to be fiscally conservative and still do, right? So I hope people hear that and know that. That's my only suggestion, is that. And again, you guys, I'm just me. So that's all I'd have to say. Thank you.
Well, it's a testament to the working people in this county that pay the taxes, that people in Daviess County work. And we've been very fortunate that we were able to manage those funds and keep Daviess County one of those 13 or 15 that are in the black. So without the dedicated folks that work, it'd be really tough.
Are there any other comments this evening? Okay, sure.
My name's Mark Toy. I live south of Montgomery. I run a business and also have a farm. I guess my main question is, you want to talk about HB1. I don't fully understand it. I don't claim to or anything like that. But you talk about property taxes. I just wrote checks yesterday. My checks totaled $1,173 more than what they were a year ago. And I've been told that they're going to go up. That's an increase of 5.79%. I've been told that I will be paying more in 26 than I paid in 25. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't got my things yet. But I'm not opposed to helping the ambulance service or nothing like that. My thing is, do we need a new tax? You know, we should, with all the homes being built and everything like that, even if they're taking some of this property tax money away from us, where's it all going? Because, I mean, my God, on Sportsman's Road out there, there's 30 new homes in the last 4 years or 5 years. You know, that we have to be generating more money as a county on property tax. And what Tracy was talking about on the TIF loans, I applied back in the 90s for a tax abatement and was told I would not get it because I was in the wrong industry. I mean, I don't agree with tax abatements, TIF loans, and all of that stuff. No one has brought in, I went to a school board meeting and I got told that if we didn't have those, we wouldn't have these companies coming in making 50 new jobs. When's the last time we had a company come here that made 50 new jobs? Can anybody tell me? It was GPC, more than likely. You know, so we keep giving tax abatements, we keep giving the TIF loans and stuff like that. And I understand that you all think we have to do that to get businesses coming, but businesses ain't coming apparently. I mean, we haven't landed that big business yet. We've not nothing out here but hugs. I mean, and you know, I'm small. I only own a little over 200 acres, and mine went up. You know, you say it's going to go up $30 to $60 a person. Mine went up $1,173. Is what mine went up.
That's property taxes. That's not the local income tax.
Tax is tax.
It is tax, yes.
Tax is tax.
But we
no
have,
matter how you say it, tax is tax.
But we have.
But you're getting a percentage of that money. And you know, I went to a school board meeting. I asked those guys, the school board at that time, they're getting their money from property taxes, correct? The majority of it. I asked the school board, I said, how many of you guys go to a commissioner's meeting or a council meeting when they're talking about giving a tax abatement or a TIF loan? You know what the answer was? None. I mean, I think you just need to talk with those guys, and you just keep talking about the law. I've reached out to Eric Basler. He, over the school, when they was looking for the referendum on the school, when we went down to the school and went through those plans. Eric Basler told me no one had really approached him. Can we change some state laws? Can we get somebody working to change those state laws to get different funding? I don't know what you're talking about is coming in 28. I'm not going to claim I know any of that, because I've just kind of gotten involved lately. When I wrote these checks the other day, that kind of hit a note with me whenever I heard we was going to have a new tax, because we've got plenty of old taxes here, in my opinion. So I guess that's about all I've got to say right now. So, but I like I say, I am for the ambulance service. I agree with what Tracy said. That TIF money's sitting there. I think we ought to use it for a year or two until we see what does actually happen down the road. I mean, I don't know why we have. How much do we have? Does anybody know sitting in that fund? I mean, I would much rather see that money go in to help the entire county on an ambulance service than into one individual business or whatever, that helps one group of people. How many people use the ambulance service? I asked my brother this question today. I said, how many people use the ambulance service? And he said, well, probably less than 5%. I said, that's right, but I said, everybody wants it there. When they need it, 100% of the people use it. So I'm not opposed to the ambulance service whatsoever. I'm just opposed to the property taxes. You all say they're going down. They're not going down. And I understand what you said about assessed values going up. I understand all of that. But that's also more money coming into the county coffers, and I hate to see more money come in than if we've got money sitting there, I don't see any reason to bring in more money, I guess is what I'm saying. Until we know what 2028 is going to bring. Yeah. I mean, you guys have seen it. What do you think it's going to bring?
No, we don't. We don't know. That's the problem.
Exactly.
We don't know. But we have been told through our financial advisor that right now it's projected we will lose $1 million next year, as well as the following year, and in 28, don't know what it'll be.
We're just trying to mitigate it for this time being and reevaluate it the next year. So maybe we lose more because of SB1, and then we might have to raise something, or we get rid of it altogether, just like we did with the jail tax. But we got to be proactive, because that's for the best for everyone, including ourselves and all of you. The TIF is interesting. I'm actually on the board with Tracy and other people. We've talked about getting rid of the TIF for that and putting all those tax dollars back into the community. And those are ongoing discussions as well. But this, being proactive on this board, is what we're doing. Part of that SB1, you're paying more taxes that we don't have any control. So when you pay that, we don't necessarily get that money here, and that's what we're trying to make up for. And that's what we need this money for. It is different. It's a shell game. But the state is getting more of that than what we're getting. And so we got to come up with the dollars to run that EMS service. So it is a little different.
I know the numbers, that to me, they don't jive to keep going up the way they are on the property tax. Property tax is one of the most unfair taxes there is. I'll just say that too. I mean, that's the most unfair tax there ever was property tax.
I'm right there with you.
I don't disagree.
I'm right there with you, and
I don't disagree.
And when you vote for your state legislature and everybody there, that's
That make
where that
those
needs to
rules.
be.
That's a big thing I look at.
And on that note, I'll just say this. I mean, the state is trying to reduce property taxes, which is great for the taxpayer.
But you're right. I mean, assessed value is going up, so there's still.
Yeah,
But the problem is how that shifted is everything went up, but the county is getting less of it, and so we have to make up for that difference.
Well, I'd like to make one.
Yeah, come on up. Absolutely.
according to like what he said, you know, about everybody talks about businesses coming into this area. This area used to have a lot of big businesses in it. McCord's, Steel Ball, several others, and they all disappeared. Nothing's coming back in. So I understand why you guys are doing what you're doing, but there's got to be a medium there somewhere, correct? I think me and you talked about it out in the hallway the other day too.
Good. And like I said, I welcome you to these meetings, and anybody in the public that has ideas that we're not thinking of, please be a part of the conversation. Absolutely. And like I said, I had a great conversation. I do want to get your numbers still, because we'll talk about some other things. But that, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, we're representatives of the community, and so we all should have that dialogue, because we're all affected by it.
Difficult because can't argue with anything you said.
No, not at all.
Well, I know your dad. I lived next to you for a while. I worked at several mines. Even the mines in this area is mined out. There's no place for people to work anymore. I mean, I'm retired. There was enough of it around. I ended up working at Boonville. That's my career.
Underground? Above ground?
Oh, above ground. I worked for Phoenix out there. I'm on your dad.
Been a few years. 40.
I was in it for 4.
Part of the problem with some of these companies leaving town is they got bought out by bigger companies, and then when they consolidate, well, this area here, and it happens all over the country, doesn't fit into the new company's workforce strategy and what have you, and that's part of the problem.
Well, PC come in, they give them a big tax abatement.
They did get a tax abatement. You know who the #1 taxpayer in Davies County, Indiana is? By probably 3 times more than #2? GPC. Tremendous tax base for this county.
I'm going to jump in real quick just to kind of talk to some of the things you guys were talking about. SB1 has a lot of moving parts. I'm Debbie Goodwin. I work in the auditor's office, and I handle all the property management for Davies County. I do tax sale. And if SB1 continues and it takes the path that they want it to, if they eliminate property taxes completely, it'll also eliminate tax sale. So there is hope in what you're seeing. There's going to be some growing pains and some things that kind of change, because of it, and change isn't always fun. But in the big picture, right now they did do away with, I don't know if either of you have like business personal property, stuff like that. The thresholds for those changed. So there's a lot of people that aren't going to be getting a tax bill for the mechanisms, like the wood shops that have all their stuff in them. They were paying business personal property taxes and stuff like that. They're not going to be getting a tax bill next year. So all of that revenue, these guys are not collecting.
So it's going from 80,000 to 2 million.
Yeah.
So it was, if you had 80,000, and now it's the threshold is going to change to $2 million. So there's a whole lot of equipment out there now that's not going to be taxed, personal property wise.
So those people are going to be happier because they're not getting a tax bill. The homestead and everything is still there. I do all the deductions and stuff as well. Worked very heavily with Representative Shane Lindauer last year to make sure we were protecting our elderly and protecting our veterans especially. They didn't mess with the veterans deduction. They didn't even touch it. They left it alone. The age deduction got better. The threshold, there was like a financial threshold that you had to hit, and it was pretty low, like $30,000 for a single person, $40,000 for a married couple. That raised to $60,000 and $70,000. So if you're over 65, we look at your adjusted gross, and if you're under those thresholds, they also lifted the assessment value cap. Basically, before, if your house was worth over $240,000, you were disqualified for it. So they lifted that, that is gone. So now it's just 60,000 and 70,000, and then you can qualify for that age deduction. It's a straight $150 off your bill. The way it was written before, it was like an assessment number, like 14,000 off your assessment, which was different for everybody because everybody's house was worth a different amount. And once you hit that tax cap, some people didn't see $2 benefit, some people might see $100 benefit. So now it's just a straight 150. So I would encourage you to tell people, tell people about it in your circles, that is out there, and they can just bring in like their tax return, and we can take a look at that. Disability, there's a disability deduction that stayed the same as well. But overall, if they're sliding us toward not having property taxes, the threat of losing your home to property tax, non-payment is gone. So I'm personally very happy about that because I don't like doing that. I also do real estate, and finding people homes is what I love doing, not taking them away. So yeah, we work with a lot of people, and especially people on fixed incomes, that have challenges there. So if they move it to the sales tax completely by 2028, it's gonna fall upon people who are out buying things, and the more you spend, the more tax is gonna get collected. So, some of the younger generation that might be out swiping their card more, they're gonna be the ones paying that tax. If you're a more conservative spender, then it will go down for you overall. So I just wanted to kind of say that out loud because I know there's a lot of moving parts to it, and it's really confusing. And when we got the 20-page document with the oversight of it, it's a lot to take in. So, but I know sitting in budgets with these guys and seeing them, I know they redline all kinds of stuff, and they have done an amazing job. They're a great team. Every time we come into budget season, people present their budgets and they have to defend them. And these guys do a really good job of nipping and tucking and taking off any excess fat that they can. So anyway, just wanted to kind of share that. And if you guys have any questions or anything about SB1, I'd be happy to help try to understand a little bit more.
Any other comments?
Thank you, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
If there are no other comments from the public, we can close that portion of the meeting, correct? If there are no other questions from the public, we can close that portion. Okay, do we need a motion to do that? Yes. I would look for a motion to
Make a
close the
motion to close the
public.
public part of the meeting.
Okay,
Second.
second by Darren, by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. The public meeting is closed. Now we would like to open our regular special meeting to kind of discuss what we've heard. We can have a discussion now. If there are additional questions, we have the right to table this, to think about things until we have 48 hours, I believe, Friday. We could have another special meeting. So open to what everyone wants to do.
Who would be responsible for calling a special meeting of the RDC, which I'm assuming would need 48 hours notice, so it can be done in the morning, be held Friday? Who's the president of that board? I'm not on that, so.
Me,
Are you the president, Matt?
but yeah,
The board would, but
yeah.
I think that's a bit of a, I don't know that the RDC needs to meet by the end of the month.
I don't think so. We have a meeting scheduled by the 25th.
This would have to get done
Yeah.
by the end of the month, but
Yeah.
the
Has to be
RDC is
done by-
a
yeah.
different.
That's scheduled for
Correct.
the 25th of November.
Correct.
Right.
Logistically, that doesn't work. Be up to you guys. We've got 48 hours. Okay, then here's what I would recommend. We postpone making a decision until Friday morning. That gives us legally the 48 hours, correct? And then if your board or you guys come up and get something done, fine. If not, then with the information that we have here, plus what people have said, then we'll make that decision at that time. Huh?
I'm not sure we can't pull that together before that meeting though.
Whether you can or can't, you've got that window. Then we can do what we
So
do.
the problem is, it can't be a, I think I can, or I think we can. We got to make a decision.
Well, but this still gives you.
That's not us. We have a 48-hour window. So if we want to do something Friday morning, depending on what everybody's schedule is, at least the majority. Everybody's grabbing their phone. I already did that, yeah. That's, let's get apples and oranges here. That's your group. Okay, this group has 48 hours. So we're gonna pick a time Friday and we'll get together. If you guys can come to fruition and get something to us additionally for us to look at, that's great. If not, everybody's known about when the end of October is. We talked about this in open meetings. Baker Tilly was here the second Wednesday of September and openly talked about this and said you have it till the end of October. So there's no surprises here. This has been an open discussion in public meetings for at least 2, if not 3 months. We're on a 48-hour window legally. If everybody's fine, we'll do that 48-hour window. Jen, legally we're fine. Grant, legally we're fine. Yes or no?
Before tomorrow at.
That's, that's Jen to advertise, so she can do that. We're fine with 8:30 Friday morning or whatever. Legally. That's all we need to know, yes or no? Yes.
Yes, okay.
All right.
So do we want to
What-
table it to have a special meeting on Friday?
We need to respect the other board.
So the motion is we're tabling tonight
Motion
Till
is,
Friday.
and
we table it till whatever time everybody wants Friday morning.
Exactly.
And then if RDC does something great, if not, that's,
We gotta move ahead.
then we have to make a
Okay.
decision with the knowledge we have at that time.
So I would look for a motion to
For-
table it.
I'll make that
Making the motion, Tony made the motion, have a second.
Second.
Second by Mike Myers, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Now, what time?
now Friday morning,
Early.
I could do an 8 or an 8:30. Or 8:30 is the earliest.
It's before the other meetings, so we usually do like their 9 would be 8 o'clock.
Can't do,
Probably the earliest we could do is 8:30.
okay. I was gonna say
8:30 is fine.
7:30 or 8.
Is 8:30
You guys
okay?
already here.
Is that, but does that?
I can get the notice
is
sent
that
out tonight,
giving
but
them
by the
time
time
to
they get in and we
Maybe
can make
next
sure
something
it's
back to us?
doable, I would say no earlier than 8:30.
The earliest,
Okay, so,
the earliest that can be done at 8:30.
okay. So Mike Myers said 8:30 would work. 8:30 work for everybody else?
Make it work.
Okay.
Before we
8:30.
close, thanks for everybody for coming.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the comments. It's not always easy sitting here, especially, people make the comment, it's easier when you're spending somebody else's money. That's true, but we're spending our money, and you gotta act like you're spending money's coming out of your pocket, and it is coming out of your pocket. So, thanks for everybody. Those are all good points. I don't know what city's taxes and all that stuff, from what we control in the last 20 years. So, and I know I can't upset my mechanic back there. He's my mechanic, so. But we will gather and listen to what these gentlemen have to say and go from there. But thanks for the input, because it's not always black and white.
And showing up at a meeting to express your concerns instead of being on Facebook running your mouth. I appreciate you all coming tonight and stepping up to the podium and doing that.
And I'll stick around if anybody wants to chat. Not,
And we are elected by everyone. So we welcome the input, and sometimes we don't get that directly. Like Mike said, you get it on Facebook, whatever. Please call us. I mean, that's what we're here for, and we want to hear your opinions, and we want to hear your ideas. You may have thought of something we never thought of, right? So please.
Call during the day, I don't answer much.
Okay.
And I would encourage you too, we, as somebody mentioned, we had a meeting with our financial advisor back on September 17th, I believe it was. That meeting is on the website, is on the Davis County website. If you go to the, whatever,
The YouTube.
yeah, the YouTube meetings and videos. And it's there, and it's easy to find. I would highly encourage you to take 45 minutes or whatever the length was. And I actually went through and listened to it again today and watched it just to get it fresh back in my mind again. But Jason goes through and tries to explain as much as he knows about the new laws and everything that are going on and what the impact is going to be to the county. So I would encourage you to, anybody that has not watched that video, please watch it.
Advantage to being retired.
The one thing I would add to whatever decision we make Friday morning, understand, we're not exempt from this tax. We pay it just like each of you do. We pay property taxes if we own property. Mark, I was in this morning, I wrote my check this morning, paid it, so I know where you're at, but, we'll be taxing ourselves too.
And when we meet on Friday, it will just be to take the vote, so we won't have it open to public opinion at that, or public comment at that time. Okay? All right, thank you all for coming. We
Motion
appreciate it.
adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.